Hey guys, this is Matthew from Commercial Deal Junkie, and I'm going to be going over how to value commercial property. I get asked this all the time. How do you know how much something's worth? If you're overpaying, is it a fair price, etc. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Matthew. I am a commercial investor based out of Southern California, and I buy commercial property, multifamily, retail apartments all around the country. So there's really two main ways to evaluate commercial property. And if you're going to value commercial property, you can either value it on the cap rate or on comparables. Now, I also put replacement cost in there at the end, which we'll go over briefly, but it's primarily these two. So most of the time, it is cap rate. So cap rate is every market has its own capitalization rate for that specific asset class. For example, if you're in California where I live, retail will trade at a five cap, maybe a five and a half, maybe a six. In other markets, it might be a seven or an eight. So you're going to take the net operating income, which is how much the building makes after all expenses, and we'll go over some examples, and you're going to divide that by the market cap rate. And then comparables is essentially on a price per square foot for retail or industrial, or a price per unit for multifamily. What is the average for that metric? And then you're just going to multiply that out either by the square footage or by the number of units. Again, we'll have an example in a moment. So those are the two primary ways. First, let's deep dive the cap rate method. So the cap rate's simple. You get the net operating income of the building, okay, and then you divide that by the market cap rate. So I'm going to give you an example actually from an appraisal that I have here. So this is a appraisal that I did for a 10 unit in Ohio, and this is the appraisal report, and I'm going to show you how they use the cap rate in order to value this property. Okay, so if you look here, I believe it's page 7, so I passed it. So if you look here, the the way they value the buildings, they use two methods. They use the sales comparable approach, which they got a value of 840, and they use the cap rate approach, which they also got a value of 840. Now, this was a refinance, not a sale. A lot of times, appraisers at the sale they really have a bias to appraise at the purchase price, but this is a appraisal. So we're going to go over what they did with the cap rate and what they did with the sales approach. So now to dive into the cap rate. So here on this appraisal, if we go to page 54, we see here, this is the numbers that they have where they come up with net operating income for the building. So they're saying that the net operating income is going to be $67,866 for the building. That means out of all, this is the rent that's going to be collected. These are all the expenses that are coming out, and this is what they get. Okay. So if we go back here, we can see that we have a net operating income of 67,866, and the market cap rate is 8% for multifamily. For class B minus multifamily in this market, it's an 8 cap. So that gives you a valuation of $848,000. If you have an NOI and you have a cap rate, you can put that together and figure out what something's worth. Now, the NOI should come from historicals. If you're buying something, then you should be able to ask what the net operating income is. Obviously, if the building's vacant, then that's what we'll go into the comparable approach. But if the building has any occupancy, you should be able to get an NOI from there, and then you should be able to divide that by the market cap rate. Now, there's many ways to get the market cap rate. I use this tool, which I'll link in the description below. All right, so I personally love to use this NAR report that gives you all the cap rates for all the different markets. So you could go here and click, I don't know, Little Rock, Arkansas. So now I can go down here and I can see what is the cap rate for retail. So in that market, the retail cap rate is 7.8%. So I know if I'm looking at it, and I always like to add a little bit to this. So let's say I'm looking at a property, I get the NOI, then I can come here and get the market cap rate, divide them by each other, or divide the NOI divided by the market cap rate, and I can get that building value. Typically, that's how commercial property is valuated, by that cap rate, especially if it's occupied, if it has tenants. Okay. Now you want to be careful. Some brokers, if you're looking for property, some brokers will try to value property based on pro forma. That means they get what the NOI could be after the building stabilized, and then they put a cap rate on that. And then now they have this made up value. You got to watch out for those. You got to make sure if you're trying to value a building, you use existing NOI. Unless the building's vacant or the building's mostly vacant, then you're going to move into the sales comparison approach. So unlike single family homes, comps are most likely used when it's a single family home, and it'll be used for commercial if you don't have a cap rate. So what is the comparable approach? So not there's no commercial properties that are made the same. Whether it's a retail building, you're not going to find another retail building that's the same square footage, that has the same layout, the same parking, same traffic. Doesn't happen. So what you have to do is you have to either for multifamily, it'll be price per unit. For industrial or retail, it'll be price per square foot. So you're trying to find the most comparable properties you can, and then finding out what is the price per square foot or the price per unit for that building. So if we go back to this appraisal that we were looking at, we go to page 45, we can see them use these comparable properties. Let me zoom in here. So these are the comparable properties that they use near this building. There are other types of multifamily property near this building. And as you scroll down here, you can see this is the average price per units that the appraisal pulled out for surrounding properties. Okay, so we know that the cap rate approach gave us an $840,000 valuation. Now we're going to look at the comparables from the other surrounding multifamily properties that sold in the area. So they're all relatively close properties. They're both, some of them are larger, some of them are smaller. This is a 10-unit property, and these are all as you can see, this is the subject property. And these are all the comparable ones, where these are, Class B minus multifamily in that same market or near that market. They're going to look at other Class B markets in the area because Miamisburg is a Class B market. So this is the subject property, and these are the price per units for all these other properties. So this one sold for 2.6 million, but it's a 30 unit. This one sold for 5.4 million, but it's a 54 unit, and then the price per unit was 88, 85, 80, 71, 86. So that gave an average. Let's go back to our slides here, and we can see that the 10 units, the average between all the comparables is 83,000 per unit. So that's going to be $830,000 valuation. So this is, and for commercial, it's the same thing. Let's say you have a retail building, you're going to look at other retail buildings that sold. You're going to try to match them up with similar quality and location retail buildings. You're going to figure out what the price per square foot is, and then you can multiply that by the square footage of the subject building and get your comparable value. This is often used when the building doesn't have tenants. It's not going to be a free building just because it's vacant. So you can go ahead and value it based on comparables. And this is often used, especially as an investor. I use them together. So I use both cap rate and comparables to decide whether or not I'm getting a property at a good deal. Let me give you an example. I'm buying a retail plaza, and I'm buying it at a 9 cap. Okay, so that's strong cap rate at a 9 cap. And then I look at the price per square foot, and it's $300 a square foot. Okay, I look at all of the surrounding retail buildings, and they're already at 280, 290, 300, 310. I know that this property is already stabilized. I bet you I can go back and realize that the property has already maximized its value. Kind of property I like to buy is I look at the price per square foot, and it is really low compared to the surrounding area, but still of decent quality. So comparables lets you feel more comfortable that you're paying a proper price for something. It also protects you from overpaying. When you see something has a much higher price per square foot than its comparables, then it's a good indication that you are overpaying for the property. Okay, last one, we're going to talk about replacement cost. Replacement cost is tricky. So what they do is they figure out what would be the price to build that building new today, and then they depreciate the building over how long it has been around. You can see right here when they value the building, a lot of times they won't use cost approach. It's a tricky one to calculate. It's most commonly used cost approach or replacement cost. It'll commonly say that is most commonly used by insurance companies and things like that. I personally don't use it. The only way in which I use it is I make sure that I'm not buying a property for more than what it would cost to build a brand new property. Does it make sense to buy used shoes for more than you can buy the same pair of shoes new? That's the way I use the cost approach. I just make sure it's a quick and dirty way for me to make sure I am not overpaying for a piece of property. All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. Replacement cost just ensures you're buying the property at a good price. And here's a quick example: you buy a property, you own it. Now you're trying to figure out what the value of it is using the replacement cost method. So to build a brand new property, it would cost 1.125 million. To construct new, but you have about 300,000 for about 50 years of depreciation. If it was a 1970s, 1975 property, you have about fifty years of depreciation. That would value the building at 825,000. Now, how you figure out what this depreciation schedule is, that can get a little bit complicated. Honestly, I'm not even sure how to do that. Insurance companies are really good at doing it. There are online tools you can use to try to figure out what replacement cost would be or what the depreciated value of this building is. I hope you guys enjoyed. Those were really the three main ways I use just to know how much something is worth, make sure I'm not overpaying. Number one, you got the cap rate. If you have a net operating income, you can figure out the market cap rate and get a value from there. If you use comparables, you can look at comparable properties and use either the average price per square foot or the average price per unit in multifamily and figure out if you're paying a proper price compared to the comparables or hopefully less. And the last one is replacement cost. How much would it cost to build that building brand new minus the depreciation that building has had because it's, over time the buildings slowly deteriorate and that causes a decrease in value. That's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I will be sure to catch you guys on the next one.